pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. De pie cantar que vamos a triunfar.
It doesn't include the local jails.
Are they private?
Yeah,
prisons?
they're mostly privately owned. The GEO Group, Corrections Corporations of America.
¿Qué queremos?
Justicia.
¿Cuándo?
Ahora.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Dignidad.
Sí.
Detención.
No.
Dignidad.
Sí.
Detención.
No.
Dignidad.
Sí.
Detención.
No.
My name is Leslie Cunningham. I'm a member of the Texas State Employees Union. I'm here today. Look at this. Look at this tremendous explosion of detention centers all over the place. Here we have working people who've come to this country in order to try to help support their families. And a lot of times they've come because the U.S. policies like NAFTA destroyed their economy so that they couldn't make a living there. So we're causing immigration. The country, our country, is causing immigration and then wanting to throw people in jail. And a large number of the people here are in jail simply because they got a traffic ticket or something, went and got booked in to a local jail somewhere, got their prints run through, and then, immigration hold on them, and then they get slapped into a detention facility for no good reason at all. These are just good people who are simply trying to make a living, and they're contributing to the economy of the United States, and they are paying taxes, and the crime rate among immigrants is actually lower than among native-born Americans. So it's just a real travesty to detain people like this, and the conditions are bad in a lot of these places. Medical care is poor. There's a lot of bad treatment in those facilities, and it's just a travesty. These are good people. They shouldn't be in prison.
What would you say to the people who claim that if we just let the free hand of the market guide our private prisons, then we'll all just be safer?
Well, it's not the free hand of the market. I mean, it's all government money. That's not the free hand of the market. If people really believe in the free hand of the market, then they would believe in open borders, where workers as well as money could move freely.
El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. 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 Sí se puede, 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 sí se puede.
Sí se puede, sí se puede.
Up, up with immigration, down, down with deportation. Up, up with immigration, down, down with deportation. Up, up with immigration, down, down with deportation.
I'm Sherry Dana, and I'm a resident of Williamson County, and several other people are here today. Williamson County is the home of the T. Don Hutto Detention Center. Our county commissioners are using us, Williamson County residents, as being supportive of this kind of thing, and they're saying things like, back when it had children in there, that sometimes children have to suffer for the sins of their parents, and these are the kinds of people that who are in charge of watching over the detention center. We're getting paid by CCA to monitor, and it's a pass-through from the federal funds, and the people in our county who are representing us believe that immigrants and asylum seekers deserve to be in prison. As long as they're speaking for us, we as voters and as citizens need to speak up against it and let them know that we don't support it and try to get these things changed. We've gotten the kids out of there, but it hasn't changed that much, and we're seeing it spreading, obviously. And as long as there are the myths that are being spread so widely The majority of people are buying into the myths, and someone has to speak up against that and bring out what the truth is about why people are coming here and what responsibilities Americans have to help these people. What it says on the Statue of Liberty is what we should be believing, and when our State Board of Education talks about the exceptionality of this country, and that's what needs to be in our textbooks, and that's what needs to be taught to children, we need to speak up and remind them of what American values are.
My name is Bob Leibel, and I work with grassroots leadership here, and we've been working on these issues of immigration detention for a long time. And I think that a lot of us were really hopeful a year ago when they ended family detention at Hutto and announced all of these reforms to the immigration detention system. But I think that it's really sort of sobering to see this and to see how many detention centers there are, and that there's just as many people detained in Texas now as there were a year ago, and that more people are going to be deported this year than any year in history. I'm really glad that everybody's out here today, and I think that it's really important that, especially here in Texas, that we're doing this today.
As you can see, it's a map of Texas. We have marked off all of the detention centers in Texas, and these are all ICE facilities. You can see there are quite a few, and then we've chosen to highlight a couple of them just a little bit more because they're linked to campaigns that we're working on. We have El Paso, West Detention. These are two sort of like isolated facilities out here. And then over here we have Reeves. This is the only one on here that actually isn't an ICE detention facility. It's a Bureau of Prisons facility. Basically, there's been a couple of uprisings at Reeves just because the conditions are so bad. And then there's a couple more you can see through here, Valverde, IH, Rolling Plains. And then as we get to the valley, we start to see more beds. 258 here, 500 here, 1,200 here, and then 3,000 with Tent City, also known as the Willacy County Processing Center. So we really wanted to highlight these two specifically because this is just a hub of immigration detention beds. And then we have the South Texas Detention Center. It's operated by Geo Group, which is formerly WEC and HUT. There's been reports of sexual abuse here, so we just wanted to make sure and note that. And then up here we have the Teton Hutto facility, which is just outside of Austin, Texas. This is the facility that most of us have mobilized around because it's so close to us and has a history that's kind of unique for a detention facility. They were incarcerating families here for several years. The conditions were horrible. People mobilized and were able to get the families released, but now there are women who are seeking asylum at this facility. Asylum seekers who are women, most of the time they're fleeing domestic violence situations. So there's a lot of trauma associated with that, and then they get put in these facilities where there's an added layer of trauma. I mean, this is just a horrible facility. It used to be a medium security prison, and it's been converted to a detention center. There's profit in incarcerating people in Texas because once in the system, folks are tried in Texas and they're more likely to spend more time in prison, which is profitable for the private prison industry. If you count all of this up, there's about 12,000 beds in Texas alone, and that's like a quarter of all the people who are detained in the entire U.S. Yeah, it's just a huge chunk of people are being detained in Texas, and most of it is for-profit private prison facilities.
El Paso! Shut it down! West Texas!
Shut it down!
Reeves!
Shut it down!
IH!
Shut it down!
Rolling Plains!
Shut it down!
Valverde!
Shut it down!
Laredo!
Shut it down!
Webb!
Shut it down!
Willacy!
Shut it down!
Port Isabel!
Shut it down!
South Texas!
Shut it down!
Central Texas!
Shut it down!
Hutto!
Shut it down!
Hutto!
Shut it down!
Hutto!
Shut it down!
Houston!
Shut it down!
Carnes!
Shut it down!
Joe Corley!
Shut it down!
Hutto!
Shut it down!
Hutto!
Shut it down!
Hutto!
Shut it down!
Tent City!
Shut it down!
Tent City!
Shut it down!
Woo!